what we're going to do now is we're going to compare this mural to real life. And I want to start by saying that a friend of mine that watched one of my recent videos, The Satanic Mood of Mainstream Society, he was really offended when he saw me trash the, quote, white Nazi ideology. And as someone that identified with being Aryan, which he does, he said the main problem with my show is that I'm too hard on Aryans. Well, first of all, to start this video, technically I'm half Aryan on my mother's side, but a lot of people would consider the Afghan bloodline, which I am a part of, the Ansars or the Ansari bloodline, to also be Aryan. Persians aren't Arabs, Afghans aren't Arabs, and so I just want to kind of put that out there, that some people get really defensive. They think I'm attacking them when I criticize tribalistic behavior. Now, tribalistic behavior can sometimes seem racist, and it's pretty much marked by people that associate with people that, for the most part, look like them. And I'm showing this mural to kind of talk a little bit about the fake Portlandia image versus the real Portlandia image, and hopefully shed a little light on where I'm coming from, which isn't racism or, you know, responding with hatred. But as someone of mixed race, I'll tell you what, there is a certain class of Portlanders that keeps to themselves. I also understand there's a lot of psychological problems that some people have, a lot of fear in today's society, a lot of really bad news. So people are a lot more scared of each other than they used to be. I know that's a part of life, but I want to make a few points about this mural. This mural somewhat does represent life in Portland. It shows some people smiling, some people holding children, and it kind of shows kind of a community of sorts. But what you don't see in this mural is you don't see the homeless. You don't see the people that are, how you doing? You don't see the real life struggles. And it's that image of being prosperous, being happy. And there's a lot of women here that aren't happy. And that's not meant to beat them up. Unfortunately, if you criticize or if you're aware of certain unconscious behaviors, and sometimes I do describe staring, glaring, looking really afraid as an unconscious behavior, and I've dealt with that, that mentality from others here. That's not an attack. That's not being racist or sexist. It's being aware of what's really going on in today's society. And a lot of people are struggling in their relationships. You know, that smile doesn't even seem real to me. Now, it's not a real smile. I mean, it was painted on the wall, but that doesn't seem like a real smile. Now, that is not an accurate depiction of how women look in Portland. That's not being sexist. That's not being racist. I say, instead of this being the reality in Portland, the real reality in Portland is a lot of sad people, a lot of anxiety, a lot of people that are working too hard, a lot of people that are one paycheck away from being homeless themselves. And I don't want to be insulting to anyone that takes pharmaceutical drugs, but that almost looks like a manic smile, you see. As we live day to day just trying to earn enough to eat the bread, there's a strong slave consciousness that exists in Portland. And I've said before in other videos, I honestly think a lot of people here are cowardly. There's a lot of groveling to big government. There's a lot of apathy. Portland's changed, and the type of people that have been drawn here have changed. So this is accurate in the sense that we see a moped, we see a lot of emphasis on electric vehicles, we see a little bit of emphasis on produce. And so this appears to be, okay, I don't know how I feel about that with the child sex trafficking problem that Portland has. That seems to be kind of an issue there. So the reality is, you know, there are some trees left in Oregon, and there's a certain amount of farmers markets here, but it's more about the image than it actually being green friendly. And so, oh boy, here we go. And I've always felt something really strange about this town. And it looks like somebody decided to put the others in this painting. I had no idea that I would come across that or that, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I think a lot of people have been tricked to moving into Portland. It's almost like social engineering, mass mind control. There are people talking about geoengineering in California and the drought there. Well, that's resulted in more people moving up to Portland. Here's another odd smile. You know, it's like there's something going on there. A lot of alcoholism. A lot of people trying to be, you know, play the role of Donna with the sports car, you know, who lives up in the West Hills with the dude with a lot of money. Yeah, there's something going on there too. And then they just chose to kind of put that there. So in a way, this is an accurate depiction of life in Portland. In some ways, it's not so accurate. You know, I don't want to get too opinionated or offend too many people, but you know, there is this false sense of spirituality that some people have latched onto. And just being immersed in physical pleasure and living in a nice part of town and having money and having certain vehicles and being able to eat certain breads and, you know, having a few farmers markets around and, you know, being in a certain area and having the money to afford to live in a certain area and having a mate that has enough money, you know, these types of things, conforming, becoming a hipster, self-mutilization of the ears, you know, what people think is a spiritual experience, I don't really think is that spiritual. And I think that we need to look closer at transcending all these illusions of separation and staying away from tribalistic behaviors where we only hang around people that look like us. And, you know, I talk about that in Portland, and unfortunately people think that's racist to talk about other people's tribalistic behavior. And that has actually shown me how deep the mind control actually is when I could be accused of such a thing, when in reality I'm just trying to help people see outside that box and be treated like other people instead of being treated different, you know, and scaring young girls like this, you know, that act a little nervous around my kind because I don't look like them. Or maybe it's the information that I have. Maybe it's something in my aura that keeps away negative energies. But I'm not trusted in this town. And that is not a conspiracy theory. That's how I live my life every single day, regardless of what people think about my information. We'll talk to you in the next video.